Okay, we're gonna get into this as quickly as possible because we don't have much time. The TKD Cycle 7 last year was an awesome keyboard. In fact, to this day, it's still one of my favorite custom mechanical keyboards. So of course I was gonna say yes to reviewing the Cycle 8, which is the new 10 keyless follow-up. It has a few design changes and improvements here and there, and we're gonna get into all of that as quickly as possible because the group buy ends in just a few days on July 31st. Full disclosure, this was sent to me for review by clickclack.io, so thank you to clickclack. I will have a link in the description, so make sure you check that out fast because again, this does end on July 31st, so if you're watching this after that, you might just have to keep your eye out for extras in the future. As far as budget range custom mechanical keyboards, this one is going to be a good one to look at. Starting at $155, the TKD Cycle 8 is an 80% 10 keyless mechanical keyboard. The one I have here is the Void Elf anodized option, and the weight on the back is the polished PVD black. It looks very nice together. You've also got a number of options with a TKD coating, which is going to bring up the price about 20 bucks. The materials, depending on which version you choose, are going to vary between aluminum, stainless steel, and titanium. Your purchase is of course going to include the keyboard kit, this really nice durable carrying case, one plate, one PCB mount stabilizer set, one set of gasket beans, one set of gasket O-rings, the foam kit with the plate foam, PE foam, and case foam, and the rubber foot pads you'll have to stick on the bottom. You have different layout options with and without the Windows key. This one uses a 7U space bar, so be aware of that when choosing your keycaps. There's this nice little optional accent piece on the right side of the board with RGB lighting, and you can choose to get that, but if that's not your jam, you can choose not to get it. It doesn't affect the price. You have your option of aluminum plate, FR4 plate, and PC plate. You also have the option for additional inner weights that go inside the battery compartment. If you're going for the wireless option, I wouldn't pay the extra for these because that's where the battery goes, but if you're going only wired, feel free to knock yourself out. You have these stainless steel ones, which I have here, and they look quite nice. Those will cost you $10, or if you want the brass ones, those will cost $16. It is available in wired and wireless options. I have the wired version here. Either way, you're going to get an anodized aluminum battery cover, or you can pay 10 more bucks to get the stainless steel version, or an extra 40 bucks for the brass one. Now, if you want the hot swap version as opposed to soldered only, that is going to cost an extra 10 bucks from the base price, but honestly, it's kind of worth it if you are somebody who, like myself, doesn't have the ability or the means to solder. And the tri-mode wireless version will cost an extra $20. If you go with the standard version, you've got two mounting options. Just like in the Cycle 7, you've got the gasket beans, which I really like using. They add a pretty decent amount of flex if that's what you're going for. Or you have the option of these new O-rings, which go around the edges of the plate. Now, where things get very interesting and totally new for this version of this keyboard is the Raka Hall Effect PCB kit. This is a special PCB that's going to cost you an extra $129. It's a special type of PCB that doesn't use traditional mechanical keyboard switches at all. It uses magnetic Hall Effect switches, which are included with that upcharge of $129. If you're trying to use this kind of keyboard for gaming, this is probably the way to go. Mainly because it has up to an 8,000 Hz polling rate, and the switches have an adjustable actuation point, much like you've seen in the past with SteelSeries and Razer. It is important to know that with this version, you are going to lose out on your plate options because it requires a certain level of rigidity to maintain the connection with the Hall Effect switches, so this is only going to include an FR4 plate that does not give you the option to use the gasket beans because you need to limit the flex. And the stabilizers with this version are going to be plate mount. It's not often that you see a custom mechanical keyboard in this type of market that is specifically aimed at gaming. It is quite the upcharge to go that route, but if you are willing to do it and you want to use this thing for a nice looking and feeling typing experience in addition to some heavy gaming, this might just be up your alley. These switches in particular are the Gateron magnetic jade switches. They're a very smooth linear switch and they feel really nice. I'm just not in love with the sound of them, but we're going to get into that with the sound test here shortly. If you decide to purchase the Raka Hall Effect version, that's going to come fully assembled with everything but the keycaps. That's what they sent me, so mine came fully assembled with the foams inside, the stabilizers all fully tuned. The only thing I had to supply was the keycaps. So I had some keycaps here that I got from mechanicalkeyboards.com at some point. I think this is the same keycaps that I used on the Cycle 7 previously. They're okay, they're not the thickest keycaps, but they'll do the job, and they look pretty nice with this keyboard. If you're curious, they are the VMK white on black 171 keycap cherry profile double shot PBT keycap set. That's what it's, I just read the whole, that's the whole listing, what it says, and I just read that to you. Now, the great thing about the Cycle 8 is one of my favorite things about the Cycle 7, and that is that it is super easy to open up if you want to get in there and change things around. There's no screws or anything needed. It uses this latching system, so you can simply press the case down in place and it locks there. It won't come off. It's pretty difficult to take it off by accident, but easy enough to take off when you want to that it's not going to take any time at all. If you want to switch out foams, switch out different parts and pieces and whatnot, it's very easy to do. I really like the subtle design changes they made this time around. As much as I love the Cycle 7, it was kind of plain. So having that layered look along the accent with the RGB lighting and along the sides of the case, it all just looks very nice and clean. And that engraved logo by the USB port along the top, it's nice. It's very nice. A lot of great color options too. I asked for the peacock if possible because I think that looks great, but honestly I'm not disappointed with this Void Elf option at all. Now I have 4 different sound tests with and without the inner weights and with and without the case foam. The plate foam and the PCB foam, which are already sandwiched between the plate and the PCB and whatnot. I left those in because honestly I'm pressed for time and I don't have time to fully disassemble and reassemble the board a couple times. That being said, I do recommend headphones for the sound test because to me, to my ears, even with headphones, it feels like the sound for all 4 versions is going to be basically indistinguishable, with maybe a slight difference when I've got the foam and the weights in them, but take a listen and let me know. And that is the Cycle 8. I really wish I had the time to do a really deep dive into this thing. It's been a while since I've done a keyboard review, but I just couldn't say no to this one. The group buy does end in just a few days on July 31st, with a turnaround time expected of October 2024, so it's just a couple months more between purchasing and getting this thing in your hands. And yeah, I would say just based on the impressions of using it myself, it's going to be worth that wait. So with that, thanks again to Click Clack for sending this out for review, and thank you for watching and for enduring this month of July. If you've been following my channel, there's a hair on my microphone, excuse me. July has been a bit of a doozy for me. I'm going to slow things down a little bit now that I'm past the more immediate deadlines for these videos, but we're still going to have videos coming out, just not 4 within a couple weeks like it's been happening recently. I'm tired, if you can't tell, and I need to go take a nap now. If you want to keep watching, there's going to be a couple of videos here on screen. You can subscribe right here if you're new, and make sure to like this video, leave a comment, and tell your friends about this video. Tell your friends about this keyboard and to check it out because it's a doozy. And if you're usually here from the handheld stuff, I'm going to review this thing soon. I've had it for a while and I need to review it, so just keep an eye out for that. Okay, I'm out of here. Bye. Thank you. Bye.